Good evening, everybody. Big hello from all of us. I'm Dr. Maina Chawla Singh. I'm an educator. I have been a professor, syllabus designer. I have taught both in India and abroad and spoken at multiple universities in France, in Israel, and most lately in the US, where I taught at American University, Georgetown, and spoke as an invited speaker at many other universities. So I bring to you an educator's perspective. I do a bunch of different webinars for Leverage Edu TV, which cover different aspects of what you might encounter in study abroad, because I have been at the other side. So I have done workshops and webinars where I speak about profile building, about a dynamic CV, about liberal arts colleges, about employability, and about different regions. I also do a series which is based on peer success, on stories of other people like yourself who were interested in study abroad, who did their journey with us at leverage.edu, and who are now sitting at their dream universities. If you look back at some of the videos, I interviewed somebody who's doing an MBA in Rochester, and she spoke about how she started her journey in Bikaner via Bangalore and went there. Today, I have somebody else. I have Anmol Gupta with me, who started his journey here in Delhi with Leverage Edu. My previous interview, I had the other two interviews, we had seen that the two young professionals had spent about a year and a half with Leverage Edu trying to figure out their dream universities and the process of getting there. When I met Anmol Gupta, I realized that his journey was a little bit different and unique. He's also placed in a unique situation at the moment. So we have some exciting things here with Anmol. Hello, Anmol. How are you?
Hello, Dr. Maina. I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And very excited to have you here. So I'm going to do a very quick set of questions. One word answers from you. Place of schooling?
DPS, Rohini from Delhi.
College and degree?
I did my graduation in Kirorimal College, BCom honors, and then I did my master's in chartered accountancy in India.
Okay, so here we have a young professional who did his chartered accountancy. So for anybody who's thinking of different trajectories, here is one. And where are you going to do your next degree?
So I am heading for an MBA at HKUST. I am partially there because I'm currently quarantined in a hotel in Hong Kong.
Excellent, excellent. So this is our little surprise that Anmol is joining me from Hong Kong. Not just Hong Kong, he arrived there 2 days ago, but he's had a long travel. For all of you who are about to leave now, or those of you who will be looking at the spring intake, I want to say here is an example of somebody who actually is in the midst of dealing what it means to have travel restrictions. We spoke to previous candidates who told us about their journey to the US. One of them was there already, the other one had left, the other one had not left, and today Anmol has left and reached, but he had to spend 2 weeks before reaching Hong Kong on the way. And we are not at all sympathetic because he told me that he was there in Maldives. He worked out the arithmetic and many of them left and spent time in Maldives so that they would be eligible to arrive in Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, he's in quarantine. And we are doing this from his hotel room. So a big thank you, Anmol, for joining us. The reason why I'm excited to have you is because you have been a Leverage Edu alum. So tell me, when did your journey of counseling begin with Leverage Edu? Tell me how long you spent in that process and what was the most difficult part. Over to you.
Interestingly, my journey with Leverage started very late in the third round of application when I met Akshay, the founder of Leverage Edu, and he really instilled the confidence in me that, Anmol, even though you're at the round number 3 and a lot of colleges are just taking in the applications, you should really go for it. And, you'll have our full support. So I started in March 2020, to be precise. And I thought I was pretty late, but Leverage Edu kind of instilled that confidence in me that, you have a wonderful application and you should really go for it. The journey has been really interesting because in the month of March itself, I signed up for 7 applications. I was I was focused around the areas that I wanted to go into, which was the APAC region, that is the Asia Pacific region. And Leverage Edu kind of helped me identify those colleges, narrow down the good options. And that is when, we had to make sure that, like we really work around the time very well. And I think that was the key point as to why I was successfully able to enter into my dream college.
Thank you for your words of appreciation. I'm sure that your coaches are listening and are very heartened to hear of the journey that you had together. You've actually spoken about a few different things. I would like to underline those things. You spoke about goal setting. You said that you were going through the process. It was important for you to get that little push to say, okay, get up, you can run, you can do it. So you're also speaking about the importance of encouragement and motivation. Now, the motivation can come from people that you meet. It can come from family. It can come from a mentor. It can come from a role model. But we know that motivation is extremely important. You spoke about goal setting, that once you have the motivation, the goal setting becomes clearer and easier. You also spoke about how that goal setting process also needs support. So what kind of support did you get? Was it just people who were sitting and chatting with you? Were you filling forms? What were you doing for goal setting?
The foremost thing was time management, because I was under constant pressure to deliver SOPs and applications for 7 colleges in a span of 1.5 months. I could not have done that without the support of Leverage Edu. The second was not giving up even after rejections, because I faced a couple of rejections initially. And I thought maybe, maybe I'm running on a low GMAT score. Maybe my application is not good enough. But the coaches really took me forward with this, because they told, like, you've taken out so much time, you should really push this through. And if you just keep at it, you will be able to come on the brighter side. And it can get really pressurizing at times, because you feel like, maybe it's not going to happen, but then it actually happens. So I think you need to really believe in yourself. You need to believe in your application. You need to work really hard. You need to manage time very well. And you need to be really motivated internally as well, because Leverage Edu can drive the support function, but you have to be the driver of the vehicle. You have to drive the whole journey. And I think that is when even they are also able to perform the best. So I think it's a mix of everything, and that is what kind of comes together.
Anmol, so articulate and so beautifully you have enumerated all the different aspects. You've actually stolen away my questions. I was going to ask you the role of self-motivation, because, to an extent, your teachers, your mentors, your parents, role models can motivate you. But unless the spark comes from within, it's not going to happen. As they say, to create a clap or an applause, you need to put both hands together. Without both hands, you really cannot do it. So you have spoken here about self-motivation, which is a very key thing that we want everyone to take away from this. Another very important thing that you have mentioned, which I would like to spend some time on, is the idea of rejection. It's very, very easy for people to fly and feel like flying when they're succeeding. It's a whole other story when you get an email that says, you are wonderful, you have done so well, we have unfortunately too many successful candidates, and those, you go through 2 paragraphs of that email that comes at the end, it says, unfortunately, we are not able to accommodate you. I'm like, I'm so angry about this. But yes, it's not easy to look at those emails that come, which are basically saying, sorry, buddy, we can't have you here. So, and that, can be very frustrating and demotivating.
It is.
And it's common. So I want to say to everybody that just what you said, I'm just elaborating it so that we don't miss that point and its importance, that rejections will come. Definitely. Rejections, and, I don't even want to say failure. Why failure? It's something you're trying. You try for so many different things. Some things happen for you and some things don't happen for you. And sometimes you realize later on that what you thought you lost was actually fine. You maybe not worth having for you, maybe not suitable for you.
Yeah.
So we just want to say that when you get rejections, Anmol, you have processed this really well, because you gave that pointer to us to be able to tell everyone that when you get the rejections, you get up, you pull up your socks, and you move forward again. So the idea is not to think of the time you have wasted, because as an educator, I want to say, and as a mentor, and I have supervised many people who've done their applications when I was teaching abroad, because they would be going to law school, they would be going to MBAs after I had taught them at the undergrad level. And I realized that every time you fill an application, you get smarter. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it's more like an introspection. You go deep within and you kind of highlight where do you want to head to. And every question is so detailed, and every university is expecting something totally different. And it kind of helps you analyze every aspect of your life. So I think it's a wonderful experience in itself.
So every time you do an application, you actually learn something, and you actually get better at writing the next one.
Yeah.
Because you are used to reflecting. The
Yeah.
applications, as you know, for study abroad are not simple. They are not just lists of I did this, I did this. It's tell us what else goes into those applications about who you are.
It talks about where you have been in terms of academics and professional life. What skills have you acquired? Where you want to head to, which will be your career goals. And then it kind of talks about what skills do you wish to acquire from our program to kind of bridge that gap. I mean, it's more like an input process output thing, like you have to kind of make the ends meet. So they really want to like delve into, why you really want to join our program. I mean, they want to see how much research you've put into it, how much thought you've put into it. And maybe they're looking for leaders. Maybe they're looking for people who are who are good at critical thinking. Maybe they're looking for people who are good at following orders. So I mean, they want to see which skills do you have, and whether you are suited for a program, and whether you're distinguished from the rest of the other cohort.
Excellent, excellent. Sorry. So just to repeat that doing research on colleges is of course a must. But then the word that you used was finding the linkage and being able to sell that linkage. You have to create a buy-in that I know your vision, here is my vision, and this is how the two are connected. So that I would love to be at your institution, but you know what? I'm going to bring something to it as well. So I think that's a very, very important key. And as you're reflecting on your own process, you're actually helping me to confirm many of the things I say in the webinars, which is that it's not enough to do the research on colleges. You need to understand their vision. And then you need to be able to write your vision to show them the relationship between that and how you yourself are an asset. It's not enough to say, I'm an aspirant. You understand what I'm saying? That yes, I aspire to be there, but you need to say, I'm also going to be an asset to the cohort that you're putting together. And so now tell me a little bit about what you signed up for, and while you're sitting in the quarantine room, are you just sitting there doing nothing, or does the program have something for you already?
So my program started a month back, about 20 days back. So I'm already 20 days late, but it's fine in a way because it's a pre-accelerator MBA program wherein they have soft skills like data analytics, Python, and financial accounting before the real program starts. So I planned my entire travel with my cohort, which I got connected to a month back before the program. I planned with them the entire journey so that we can reach the program before the course of the subject start, which is September. So I'm planning to exit the hotel and reach the campus by 31st August. And so far, we have had a lot of hurdles. It has not been a smooth journey. I was there in Maldives for 21 days, and you have to manage the bookings in Hong Kong. You have to manage the bookings in Maldives. You have to manage the flight from Delhi to Maldives, and then from Maldives to Hong Kong. uh, uh, it's a long process, and I don't think so it can be done by one person alone. It's very, very difficult. So I would suggest anybody who's going for it, whenever you're planning to get into any country, I'm sure you'll find other students who are also planning to get in that country. You need to reach out to them. You need to reach out to the cohort of your own program. And you need to plan things together. I think when multiple minds work together, I think you get the best results.
I think you're so right. I've actually been having conversations with some of the families of students who are going abroad, and the visa hassles have been crazy. The lines have been long. And even after reaching, there is quarantine at the other end, which is, many families wanted to go with their younger undergraduate student, their sons and daughters who were leaving, and that was not possible. It's much easier when you're older and you've done some work experience, lived in other cities, been independent. And I think you're so right. Even then, it is important for you to be able to find those people. And just for tips for other people, I want to say reach out on social media. Very often, the college may or may not connect you to other people. For instance, I tried this to help a student from the US, and they said they had privacy reasons. They will not connect us or one family to another because there can be objections from the other family. Anyway, they found other connections through social media. So use your social media, reach out and say you're going to this university, ask your friends to post that and be able to do that. You're so right, Anmol. That's a very important tip. And that's going to happen even for the spring intake. It's not going to be easy. And yes, whenever you say Maldives, we start thinking of all those fancy pictures on Instagram that film stars have been posting, but that's not how it is. I mean, I know that you chose there to see how you could get your flight connections and that you were not on those luxury places. You found yourself someplace to stay with 4 other friends and to be able to just be in transit from a place that Hong Kong would accept travelers, because India is on the red list for many. So again, we want to say, don't lose heart. Here is a young man who with many others many others in his group has actually made it and is on his way. So, connect with each other. There will be hurdles. It's not fun when you go from home to be locked up in a quarantine room. But you know what? You chose to do something different. It's not as much fun as you would have liked it to be. But the fact is that last year, a whole batch was not able to go. So it's important that you've all been able to go and you're close to your destination. So think about 10 days in quarantine and not missing out on a whole program that you will be able to do. So tell me a little bit about the program and what specialization and why you have chosen that.
So having done my chartered accountancy, I have been well versed with the aspects of finance. I have worked in PwC in the M&A department. So I chose the HKUST MBA because Asia is the next growing hub for various tech companies like fintech, green tech. And I think I wanted to bridge that gap between my finance knowledge and then the knowledge of tech, and just to take it forward. Working in the developing countries like India, and also like working in established cities like Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia. So the idea was to stay in the Asia region for now. But again, it's also important that you keep an open mind, because again, it's an MBA. In the end, you meet a lot of people, you discover things that you've not heard of before. So I would say, like, the key thing is to be adaptable, be resilient, be open to ideas, have a little clarity on your goals, work really hard. And then again, the program at HKUST, I knew that I wanted to get into one of the top colleges. So in a way, country was not that important to me. It was, what was important to me was to get into the top college of that particular country, which is why I applied to Singapore, Hong Kong, and also a couple of universities in Europe, mainly UK. So I think you need to have those kind of goals, and then that is when Leverage Edu comes and narrows down options for you. So I chose for a 1-year program, 1-year MBA, because I already have 3 to 4 years of work experience, which is what HKUST provides me with. But then again, if you have a relatively low work experience, I would suggest you go for a 2-year program.
Excellent. I like the fact that you were very clear about why you chose Hong Kong. And that takes me back to some other sessions that we have done, which are all available on Leverage Edu TV, the YouTube channel, which speak about different destinations. So the clarity of your goals is also about the clarity of the geography that you want to go in for. And I want to say that Anmol has said already, but Leverage Edu is a full stack service that helps you with all of those questions of narrowing down your decision making. And there is a process by which they help you to figure out whether what you thought your aptitude was is truly your best aptitude. Maybe there is something else as well. And then the journey of a head coach takes you through this application process and helps you to narrow down. First, cast the net wide, then narrow down. Narrow down until it finally narrows to hopefully a choice between 2 or 3 universities that you can then choose from. And the program. So Anmol, another important thing that you said was, depending on the years of work experience that you have, you can do either a 2-year program or a 1-year program. Because you have already been a working professional, you chose that the 1-year program will help you to get what you want. Those are also important financial decisions. If you can do an accelerated 1-year program, as you said to me, a lot of the earlier part that you have done online is going to help to deepen and strengthen what you get from that 1-year program. There was another very important thing that you said, which is, yes, I know why I have chosen this region for Asia Pacific and how it's a growing hub. You also said that you had certain ideas about why you wanted that, but this is only the beginning of your program. You are there so that you can receive other inputs. And so what you said was, it's just the beginning. Other things might happen. And again, as an educator, I want to say that's the mindset I want every learner to have. I have to say that with all my years of experience of dealing with people, mentoring students, teaching in different parts of the world, I still learn every time I speak to one of you. And so our learning never stops. When you go into a program, when you go into a conversation, when you go into an interview, you actually learn. You learn something more from what people say, and you learn something else about yourself. And therefore you grow. So that's an excellent, this is what is called a growth mindset. You know how that phrase is used all the time for businesses? Do you have a growth mindset? You know, this is an example of a growth mindset. When you said the program is just beginning, we will see how my views are modified. And you must be open to that modification. Either what you learn will confirm what you know, or it will challenge. And that's where you said critical thinking is important, that your views should be challengeable. You should feel that I'm here to learn, open to challenge. That challenge will help me to solidify what I go forward with. So all of those things are really useful. The time management part is something I cannot stress enough. Everybody I have spoken to speaks about the huge pressure on time. You are sitting there even in quarantine. How many hours of classwork do you have? Tell me that.
So I had an 8-hour class today itself.
8 hours? You had an 8-hour class today?
Yeah, 7 hours. Yeah.
You're looking remarkably fresh. I just thought you've been watching Netflix, but you've just finished an 8-hour class. Bravo.
Yeah.
Good for you. And also for everybody else who's watching, please know that the fun of learning can be in many different ways. So be upbeat about it. Are you getting food to eat?
Yeah, I'm getting meals thrice a day. Hong Kong is really strict about it. You cannot step out of the room, not even in the lobby. They've got CCTVs everywhere. You can order Food Panda. Food Panda is really popular here. So you can get stuff to your hotel.
Okay. Okay, so a lot of young people will be happy to hear that even quarantine is, you know, there is work to do, but there's also food. You don't have to be missing family and home. Tell me a couple of things that we can just say as parting shots to young people who are about to go for the spring intake or just about to fly now? Is there something you want to say?
Yeah, I think the two key traits that are going to drive you through this entire process is adaptability and resilience. Uh, I mean, you'll face a lot of hurdles. You'll be constantly challenged mentally, physically. The idea is to keep moving. The idea is to keep adapting to the new situations. Also, you don't have to be really, really clear about your goals. You just have to have an exposure to all the areas of businesses, have a good understanding, and then you're here to basically unlearn whatever that you've learned. You're here to unlearn it, and then you're here to view a different perspective. And the key is to keep meeting people, interacting with people, and networking, not just with the idea of looking for a job, but genuinely helping people out. I think these are the things that will really help you go through this entire program.
Excellent. So I am going to use your two words as keywords, resilience and adaptability. And I want to say that you're there for an MBA. You have chosen Asia Pacific, but those two words apply to everybody.
Yeah.
Whether you're going for master's in computer science, whether you're going for a PhD, whether you're going just for an undergrad, whether you're doing social sciences, it doesn't matter. Resilience and adaptability. Resilience helps you to bounce back. So remember, everybody who's watching, remember that phrase and remember the image that you get pushed down and you bounce back up. So that's resilience. And the other thing was adaptability. Whether it's going to be that when you arrive, your dorm and your hostel is going to impose quarantine, whether some classes are hybrid, whether we don't know how the pandemic waves will pan out in the next few months. Unfortunately, for all the pride that human beings had in science, the last 1 year has taught us that we are not masters of everything. It has taught us that we better be resilient, we better bounce back, we better learn new things, and we better unlearn, again to use Anmol's word, we better unlearn things that we thought were going to be our recipes. So resilience and adaptability. I want to end this session on that note. I want to say that this is being hosted by Leverage Edu, India's top-ranking university admissions service, with a focus on study abroad. For all of you who are dreaming of a university, sign up, call, you can DM on Leverage Edu's social media handles. They are everywhere. They're on LinkedIn, they're on Insta, they have a Telegram group, they're on Facebook Live now and later on YouTube. There is a 30-minute free counseling session that everybody can avail. So reach out for that and see what a response you get. So you want to do that journey, come to us, we'll take care of you. Anmol is an example for us. Anmol is also a source of pride, and wish you all the very best. I'm sure that you will fly. All the best, Anmol.
Good wishes. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.